South Africa's immigration crisis is reaching dangerous new levels as anti-immigration protests spread across communities and political leaders face growing public anger. In this video, we break down former President Thabo Mbeki's explosive comments on immigration, unemployment, and xenophobia, and why his remarks triggered massive backlash online. As protests intensify in places like Thokoza and Durban, frustrated South Africans are demanding stronger border control, deportations of undocumented migrants, and urgent government action. Meanwhile, foreign nationals are reportedly fleeing threats, police have been deployed to prevent violence, and tensions continue escalating across the country. Thabo Mbeki's warning about blaming foreigners. Operation Dudula and March protests demonstrations against companies accused of hiring undocumented migrants. Foreign nationals seeking shelter amid rising tensions. Government responses from Paul Mashatile and other leaders. Growing fears of another xenophobic violence crisis in South Africa. The unemployment and economic frustrations fueling public anger. This is quickly becoming one of the most explosive political and social issues facing South Africa in 2026. As you watch the video, do not forget to like, share, subscribe and drop your thoughts on the comment section. See you at the end of the video.
What the person in Guinea-Conakry says, that I now say to this Guinea-Conakry was walking the streets of Johannesburg, go home. They don't understand it. And the reason they don't understand it is because during the course of the struggle, the continent came to own South Africa. The very, very much South African. This South African struggle was not just a South African struggle, it was their struggle. So, one prediction I will make, the Africans will continue to come to South Africa. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't change the hearts and the minds of this African. It's a particular frame of mind with regard to South Africa which they have to liberate. What we as South Africans have got to do is to say, how do we deal with this? You are not going to solve the problem of unemployment here by shouting against undocumented Africans. And leave the culprits. The culprits are sitting here. Yeah. I can even tell you their names.
No, don't tell us. Don't tell us.
But we're pointing fingers at the wrong people and people are shouting.
South Africa is witnessing a dangerous collision between economic frustration, unemployment, immigration tensions, and political division. Former President Thabo Mbeki has now entered the heated debate, and his comments are sparking strong reactions online. Speaking about the growing anti-immigration protests, Mbeki argued that shouting at undocumented foreign nationals will not solve South Africa's economic collapse.
To speak to us about the 30th of June, we've been hearing that, a call for all undocumented foreign nationals to leave the country.
Well, I think it's really a call for them to actually take themselves home without there being any trouble. I really don't think that by Phakela announcing that date he was trying to scare anyone or intimidate them. It's just a call to say, you've got this much time, prepare yourself to go home, because if you're in the country legally, why should we even have to beg you to go home?
Now, we've seen President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is in Botswana at the moment, condemning these attacks against undocumented foreign nationals and foreign nationals as a whole. What's your stance on this?
He must continue to condemn. We'll continue to govern ourselves, since he's not serious about it.
There's been reports that foreign nationals have been attacked in their respective communities in and around, and they're pinning this on March and March.
They must go open a case. What must we do? Because, that's what the justice system is for. If they feel like someone has harmed them, they have a responsibility to prove that they were harmed.
And Jacinta, for those back at home who are not for what's currently transpiring and calling this xenophobia, what do you have to say to the detractors?
Look, I think anyone who's calling this xenophobic, by all means, it's up to them to call it xenophobic. But we're not going to sit back and allow this to continue happening in our country, because we can't have a country being turned into a refugee site for all failed African countries. We have become a dumping ground for any other African country that's got problems. This is not normal, what you're seeing here. And if there's any South African who's been been to an African country and they've seen this anywhere in Africa, I dare them to say which African country that is. We're expected to accept all kinds of nonsense under the disguise of some fake unity in Africa that doesn't exist because we're the only ones creating it, whereas other African countries are absolved from this African unity. So how does it work that this African unity means that our buildings must be dilapidated, we must accept crime, we must accept human trafficking, drugs, and all kinds of things? If that is what African unity is about, then we as South Africans are saying we don't want to be part of it.
More than 400 foreign nationals are outside the Diakonia Center right now, and some of the documents have been sent to Home Affairs for verification. There are those that are also saying that they are legally in the country and they're being targeted just for being foreign national.
Look, I don't think this is our business. As you said, we'll hear that from Home Affairs when they come back and tell us that their documents are valid, and Home Affairs must make provision for them to stay, because obviously you can't force communities to stay with people that they never asked. Home Affairs, when they integrated people into this country, they brought people into this country because there's been no integration. Like any other country that has signed United Nations agreements, they have refugee camps. Us, the whole country is a refugee camp. South Africans have nowhere to go. Everywhere you turn, it's foreign nationals claiming to be refugees. So we're saying it's Home Affairs' duty. That's why we're here, to make sure that Home Affairs is doing their job, and we're going to find out what they do after this. But you can't blame ordinary South Africans for feeling aggrieved because they don't have jobs, they don't have places to go to. Our streets are smelling, they're dilapidated buildings, our children are not safe, we can't walk safely on the streets. We as South Africans are the ones that are scared more than foreign nationals in our own country. At least they've got an option. They can always go back to their country. What option do we as South Africans have if our entire country becomes a site where everyone from Africa can dump their people, and anytime we say something about it, we're xenophobic? Our children deserve a future. We deserve a home, and home isn't a place where there's strangers. You in your home, when you're inside, it's people that you know, it's your blood, it's your relatives, it's people you share things in common with. This is not what's happening in this country.
Before I let you go, Jacinta, just for other African nations that are watching this now, and also the foreign nationals who are pinning all, I suppose, the alleged assaults on March and March, you have said to me that it's always been peaceful. What do you have to say on that?
I say that their government needs to make it very fast in collecting their people, because the reason why they're here is because their government failed them. They ran away from their government. They can't now stay for our government to take care of them. We don't owe them anything. They have a government that they ran away from. If they're scared in South Africa, they must move to the next country where they're not going to be scared, or find a government that they can go to who doesn't have a problem. Us as South Africans, the voters, the people who pay taxes, the people whose country this belongs to, our forefathers died for this land, are saying we have had enough of what is happening in our country. And if they continue to tell us that they're not going anywhere, that's not going to be our job to evacuate them. It's either our government is going to evacuate them, or their government is going to come and fetch them. Either way, you won't force us to stay with people we don't want to stay with because of the things that they have done. That's the part that they need to be honest about. It's 32 years. If they had problems in their countries, you can't tell me in 32 years we're getting more and more refugees instead of less and less, because it means they are not going home to fix their problems. So we catered for them for 32 years. We paid for apartheid now. We paid our dues. You can't expect us to keep paying for apartheid anymore. It's enough.
He pointed directly to the country's unemployment crisis, which remains among the worst in the world. South Africa's unemployment rate is sitting above 30%, while youth unemployment has climbed to shocking levels. According to Mbeki, the real causes of poverty and joblessness are already inside the country: corruption, poor leadership, economic failures, and structural problems, not simply foreign nationals. But many South Africans are rejecting that argument completely. Critics immediately accused Mbeki of being out of touch with the anger ordinary communities are experiencing daily. Some online users blamed previous governments, including during Mbeki's own presidency, for weak border enforcement and immigration failures that they believe helped create today's crisis. Others said politicians only speak about humanity and tolerance when citizens begin protesting publicly, because across many townships and struggling communities, the frustration is becoming explosive. And nowhere is that anger clearer than in places like Thokoza. Residents there are now marching against companies accused of employing undocumented foreign nationals, while local South Africans remain unemployed. The protests moved toward factories in Al Road, where demonstrators demanded businesses remove illegal workers immediately. For protesters, this is no longer just a political issue. It is personal survival. Many citizens say they are watching jobs disappear, while businesses allegedly hire undocumented migrants willing to work for lower wages. And that perception is fueling enormous resentment. Groups such as Operation Dujula and the March and March movement have become major voices in this growing anti-immigration campaign. Supporters argue they are defending South African citizens who feel abandoned by government, but critics accuse some activists of fueling dangerous xenophobia and intimidation. Now tensions are becoming increasingly volatile in KwaZulu-Natal as well. Reports indicate that some members linked to the MK Party and March movement arrived at the Diakonia Center in Durban, where hundreds of foreign nationals have reportedly been sleeping after fleeing threats and protests. eThekwini Metro Police peace officers were deployed to the scene as authorities tried to prevent violence or confrontation. That image alone shows how serious the situation is becoming. Foreign nationals sleeping in shelters, police monitoring growing crowds, communities demanding deportations, and political leaders scrambling to calm tensions before things spiral out of control. Deputy President Paul Mashatile has also condemned anti-immigrant groups and warned against actions that target foreign nationals. Government leaders continue insisting that immigration frustrations must be handled through law enforcement and legal processes, not through vigilante action or mob pressure. But many South Africans say they no longer trust government promises. Critics argue that leaders speak strongly against anti-immigration protests, yet fail to show the same urgency when communities complain about illegal immigration, drug trafficking, human trafficking, crime syndicates, overstretched public services, and rising unemployment. That frustration is creating a dangerous atmosphere where emotions are increasingly overpowering reason. Because while government leaders warn against xenophobia, many struggling citizens believe politicians are ignoring the deeper crisis facing ordinary South Africans. For years, communities have complained about poverty, crime, housing shortages, and lack of economic opportunity. Now, those frustrations are exploding around immigration. At the same time, human rights groups warn that the country may be moving toward another period of dangerous violence if tensions are not controlled. South Africa has already experienced deadly anti-foreigner attacks in the past. Businesses were looted, people were killed, families fled communities in fear. And many fear history could repeat itself if leaders fail to restore calm quickly. But politically, this issue is becoming extremely sensitive because any criticism of immigration policy is now immediately colliding with accusations of xenophobia. Meanwhile, communities demanding stronger border control say they are tired of being silenced or dismissed whenever they raise concerns. That is why figures like Mbeki are facing such strong backlash online. Some South Africans agree with him that corruption and failed governance are the true root causes of unemployment. But others argue that illegal immigration has made an already terrible economic crisis even worse. And right now, there appears to be no easy solution. Government is under pressure. Communities are angry. Foreign nationals are afraid. And protests are spreading. The deeper fear now is that if economic conditions continue worsening, the immigration debate could become even more explosive ahead of future elections and political battles. Because underneath the arguments about borders and foreign nationals lies something much bigger, a country battling hopelessness. a generation struggling to survive, and millions of citizens losing faith that government can still solve the crises facing South Africa. That is why every protest, every march, every viral video, and every confrontation now carries enormous political and social tension. And many people are beginning to ask a frightening question. If leaders cannot calm the anger now, what happens when the frustration becomes impossible to control?
Welcome back. Is the movement against foreign immigrants really dividing South Africans? Drop your thoughts on the comment section, like, share and subscribe for more updates as Lucky G News continues to bring you news from South Africa. Bye for now.